What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, we're going to be going over a little bit of news from Plarium here. They've given us the scoop on the next couple days in terms of what events to expect. So I'm going to go over every single one with you guys. There's quite a bit to cover, so I'm going to break it down into digestible pieces for you guys so that we are informed and can make informed and educated decisions for these upcoming events. Now, it's particularly important because those that are going for the fusion will be very interested to know that I would say some of the events could be a win. But anyways, let's jump right into it. So let's start here first with the first event that's going to be overarching for the next couple days. And it's going to be a 2x boost on Sacred Shards. So you get a double chance of pulling a legendary from these yellow shards here. And the boosted rate will be 12% instead of 6%. So that event's going to start on Thursday, and that's going to be blanket on throughout the entire weekend. Now, the reason why this event is actually very good for this weekend is because a lot of people that are going for the fusion will probably be participating in this weekend's summon rush. Now, a summon rush usually is best completed with sacred shards because summon rushes are based off of the quality of shards that you pull, not the quality of champion. So the thing is with the sacred shard is that you get high amounts of points, and the quality of the champion that's going to come out is most likely going to be an epic, which is low. So you're actually getting kind of more points for whatever the quality of the shard instead of the quality of the champion. You don't need to high roll to get the high points. In this case, we do get a 2x boost for the sacred shards, which further incentivizes you to use sacred shards. And of course, using them toward the summon rush is already a good thing. A lot of times this doesn't happen perfectly, but in this case it does, and it's a good thing. If we quickly take a look at the calendar, the fusion calendar that is on Plarium Play right now, there's going to be the Heroes Path event. So Heroes Path, there's no further info on it, but we know for sure that it's going to be Summon Rush plus Dungeon Divers. So you're going to get points for pulling shards, quality of shards, and spending energy in the dungeons. So as I said in my fusion plan, I was skipping the first summon rush last weekend and focusing all my efforts into this hero's path. There is an extra 50 fragments available in this hero's path, so that's why I decided to skip the first summon rush, because the extra fragments in the hero's path allows you to skip 2 events. So I'm going to focus on this hero's path, and like I said, 2x sacred shards for a summon rush, that's a good deal for you. All right, what's next? We actually have a soul chase that popped up in game right now. Looks like they're going to have the prism crystals in here as well for you guys to chase. Sorry, excuse me. That prism crystal is actually in the Gear Ascension tournament. Sorry, my bad. Pretty expensive here, about 12,000 points to get. If you break down the point conversion, Shogun gives you, I believe, a slight edge in terms of points per energy. But there's some variance that's going to go in here because for Shogun, the range of points can be quite wide. Actually, it's for Shogun and Sand Devil. In this particular event, it's based off of the type of resource that you pull. So if you actually, earn the smallest resource, the smallest oil, the smallest extract, you actually get more points as opposed to getting the bigger, more rare stuff. So it's actually interesting, but the variance for this can be very high. But in terms of overall energy spend, it's about the same as doing a regular Sand Devil tournament. The Prism Crystal is available. It's going to be part of the Prism pool. Unfortunately, since we have a Summon Rush version event for the Hero's Path, you're not going to get any extra points there by saving the prism pool. Usually in a champion chase you can save the prism pool pulls for some additional points, but not in this case. And we have a soul chase tournament. My bad on saying there's a prism reward. There's no prism reward in here. The soul chase event, you get points for pulling your souls. I probably would stay away from this and then just look for the 2x event boost before I would pull my souls. Soul Chase is good if you just need some extra rewards, or maybe we have like a login soul that we can save, or if you find a soul in the shop, then you can get some points for your trouble. But I wouldn't focus on pulling souls for this, to be honest. But anyways, let's move on. There's actually some progressive events that will be happening alongside the 2x sacred boost, so we're going to cover that right now. All right, let's jump into it. So I got the list of progressive events right above my head here. Like I said, it's going to go alongside the boosted Sacred Shard event. So you actually get a choice of which progressive event you want to go for. alongside the 2x Sacred Shard boost. Each one of these events will last 24 hours, so make sure you guys are aware of which one you guys want to pull for during the 2x Sacred Shard event, and then go in on that. But let's cover it. So on day 1, we have Dune Lord Gregor. It's going to be focused on the faction Unity champions. So all 4 events are focused on that. With a boost to the respective champions. So first we got Dune Lord Gregor from the Barbarians. Force affinity, defense based. Now this champion I didn't really get a chance to play test, but we all remember this guy from playing him against the Queen of Hearts dungeon. So he was the the really painful support champion that kept those ads going. Actually, it might have been Asgard. I don't remember, but he was part of the last stage at some point. But anyways, let's read his kit here real quick. His A1 attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance to provoke. Okay, I mean, fine, normal, not particularly insane, but yep. His A2 attacks all enemies, decrease the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn, and increase the duration of all ally buffs. So a bit of a extender here, extender, destender. On a 3-turn cooldown, also places a shield on all allies for 2 turns, equal 20% of this champion's max HP. Now, not a bad ability on its own, so a 3-turn cooldown on that. And his A3 here places increased attack, increased accuracy on all allies. It's on a 4-turn cooldown. Not a great ability by itself, but let's see what bonuses he has going on for him. 1 ally, decrease the cooldown of all ally skills, except this champion by 1 turn. So kind of like a Painkeeper ability. 2 allies, fills the turn meter of all allies by 20%. So now it becomes turn meter fill. And then 3 allies, activates an instant turn effect on the ally with the highest crit damage. Okay, so this can obviously be very strong, right? So you play this ability, everybody gets buffed up, everybody gets turn meter, everybody gets skill reduction, and then your damage dealer will get an instant turn. So this is a pretty strong ability, of course. All the buffs going into your damage dealer can be pretty insane. And then his passive here, when attacked, has a 20% chance to place and provoke on 1 attacker. Now that's not particularly insane or anything, but it's okay. 1 ally. Allies deal 25% more damage to hard CC'd enemies. 2 allies. Allies ignore 50% of the resistance when applying hard CC. And then 3 allies. When counterattacking, instant effects and debuffs placed by ally skills cannot be resisted or blocked. Now, there's a lot of support abilities here, but they're all very, very good. So you deal more damage against champions that are hard CC'd. He has hard CC in his kit with his provoke. And his passive. And then with 2 allies, you get, basically a big accuracy boost when placing the hard CC. Now for Barbarian, there's obviously Armans, which is very, very big. So having a big accuracy boost basically for Armans can make things a lot easier. Counterattacking, instant effects, and debuffs placed by any skill cannot be resisted. So this really helps as well. For example, somebody like Armans with the A1 to lock out abilities cannot be resisted. So he's a big boost in terms of damage, and then obviously giving you a big accuracy check boost. Brings defense in all battles and accuracy for Barbarians. So not a bad one, but obviously not entirely broken relative to the other ones. So a bit of a fair faction guardian. For the Void progressive event champion, we have a Tuhanarok. Now, Tuhanarok is a very, very good champion. She has accuracy in all battles. She has a passive that is similar to Doom Priest, where she takes a turn and removes a random debuff from everybody. If she will remove 2 random debuffs if they're under continuous heals. She brings the increased defense, increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown. She has block buffs and decreased attack on a single target. So this is a little bit finicky, but you can debuff spread. Now, debuff spread is a little bit interesting. If you place the decreased attack and block buffs on one enemy with no debuffs, then you'll always spread the block buff and decrease attack. But the debuff spread, since it's random, it cannot be 100% controlled that way. And then this A1 has a single target decreased speed. And then the continuous heal landing here as well can be okay and synergizes a little bit with the passive. Good base stats overall. Usually used in Hydra, but she can be a general good support in a lot of areas. Okay, so that's day 1. Now keep in mind, I want to mention that when going for these progressive type events, for non-boosted rates, non-boosted rates, you're looking at about 7% chance of getting the desired 15x progressive champion if you pull a legendary. So on a regular day, 6% sacred, you're not going to be getting the progressive event very often, progressive event legendary. And then on voids, you're looking at about 19 or 20%. So if you pull a void legendary with 0.5% rate, you have a roughly 1 in 5 chance to get to Hanorok. Now that's not bad. If you know your mercy and you know that you're going to get a void legendary soon, then trying to aim for your progressive champion is not a bad idea. But keep in mind, it's not a sure thing, and it's far from it. All right, so let's move on to Friday. So keep in mind, on Thursday, we have Dune Lord Gregor and Tuhanorok. On Friday, we have Vizog the Noxious and Grazur Iron Gut. Now, we're going off probably just factions per the day here, but then we're going to go to the Ogren tribes, and we're going to check out Vizog the Noxious. So Vizog the Noxious here, I did playtest this guy when he was released. Good base stats overall, and he does have some potential here. So let's check him out. A1 is an AoE, has a chance to instantly activate poison and HP burn. So he has a poison trigger on his A1. It's an AoE, can be useful in other areas as well. His A2 is another AoE, has a 100% chance to place 2 poisons and an HP burn. Now this is really, really good value. Obviously 2 poisons and the HP burn could be a lot of damage on a 3 turn. It's solid. And then on the A3 here, another AoE. Before attacking, places increased accuracy on everybody, then increases the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. Also decreases the duration of all ally debuffs by 1 turn. So it's a little bit of a cleanse, and it's a little bit of a extender. So this is supposed to extend like the poisons and HP burns and all that stuff. Now, the order of events is a little bit weird, so I guess you want to do the A2, land your poisons and HP burn, then you come back in with the increased duration, then you can increase the duration of them so they last longer, but the increased accuracy is here. So ideally, the increased accuracy would be on this one, so you make sure you land your important debuffs. But instead it's on here, which is a little bit strange. This is on a 3-turn cooldown, which makes it pretty decent. And of course you get a very soft cleanse here as well. Let's check out his bonuses here. So 1 ally bonus, you get 30% speed buff on all allies. Faction allies 2, so 2 allies, you increase the duration of all enemy debuffs by 2 turns and then decrease the duration of all ally debuffs by 2 turns instead. So a stronger cleanse and a stronger extender. And then on the 3 ally bonus, you heal all allies by 5% of the max HP, heal them by additional 2 up to 50% for every enemy debuff that has its duration increased. Now, after playtesting him, I tried to use him for solo, like Dragon Heart 10, see if he can replace some of the great solo champions around. Now, he can do that only with the tribe unity bonuses. The increased speed is very helpful for solo champions. The duration increases his overall damage. And then, of course, the cleanse can be very useful if debuffs are landed on him. And the heal. The heal is actually huge for him as a solo champion. So when you're doing hard dragon, I put him with a bunch of Ogren food, and he was able to do it very, very easily. But without the allies, his kit is not very catered to do soloing, not strong enough in my opinion. He requires a lot of healing or other ways to go really fast. He has no turn meter boost, no increased speed or anything like that. So he's really, basically banking on just ticking away at the enemy with the A2 and then the A1. But let's check out his passive here. His passive: increase each ally's accuracy by 10 for each HP burn and poison. Now this could be 30, 50, 40, around there. And yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad boost, right? And then we go into the faction ally bonuses. We got 1 ally, HP burn, poisons, placed, deal 30% more damage. 2 allies, increased damage dealt by allies for each HP burn and poison. And then 3 allies, HP burn and poison are placed by allies, cannot be removed, stolen, or transferred. Now this is a nice damage boost for your team. This could be a boost in areas like Hydra as well, giving your team some additional damage. And these HP burns and poisons are not specific to him placing them, so they could synergize really well in a team specifically made for him. So some pretty good support here, right? You get some extra damage from his kit, HP burn and poisons. You get increased speed here, you get a cleanse, you get a duration increase, and then you get a heal. So pretty good support. And then of course he can dish out a bit of damage himself as well. Good base stats overall. Decent champion, good champion even. Let's move on to the Void progressive for Friday. Friday is going to be Grisur. So the same day, same time that Vizog the Noxious is on, we have Grisur Iron Gut. He's a great champion. He's a great kit, great champion, defense based and all that. Can deal damage against bosses. His A1 is an AoE, places a shield proportionate to his defense on the whole team. Super, super good. His A2 is another AoE, heals the champion by 10% of the damage dealt, increased duration of all buffs. So he's a buff extender on a 3-turn cooldown while dealing damage while healing himself. His A3 is a 3-turn cooldown, again, another AoE, places provoke, and then also buffs your whole team with increased resistance, increased defense. Very, very annoying increased resistance and increased defense on this ability as well. If you played against Grisur in some of those Cintranos waves, he can be super, super annoying. And that's because of his passive here. Whenever this champion is attacked, heal all allies by 70% of the damage received. Only heals by 35% of the damage received from bosses. No cooldown. So basically when he gets hit, he's going to heal your whole team. Similar to Vogoth. So very, very strong passive here. And then his active effect, he has the Skull Crown active effect where when he dies, he gets an unkillable buff. And then, yeah, it's just hard to kill this guy sometimes. He's got defense all about. He's got a big one here, 33%. He's a Void Legendary, very, very good. The only knock against him is his HP is a little bit low. So you can't really, get a crazy amount of healing out of him. But everything else looks very good. Great kit overall, and he's going to be up for grabs on Friday. All right, so on Saturday, let's move on to the next faction. We have the Undead Hordes, and here we have Heracles. I actually have this champion, Heracles. I haven't built out. I haven't found a use for him, to be honest. I was thinking about putting him in a faction faction team for maybe like Siege or something, but honestly this faction is so decked out that you don't really need a guy like him, even though he's pretty cool. So let's jump over his kit here real quick. Defense based, good base defense, a little bit slow with 95 speed here. Let's check him out. We got the A1. Places fear on a target for 1 turn. Debuff cannot be resisted if this champion is dead. So he has a very cool mechanic that basically gives him additional bonuses if he's dead. So while he's alive, True Fear will take accuracy. But if he's dead, it doesn't take accuracy. And if he's dead, it also heals all allies by 20% of their max HP. That's a massive heal, by the way. So really big bonuses on his A1 if he's dead. His A2, a single target hit will ignore 100% of the target's defense. That's massive. You ignore it all. Ignore it all, man, with 3 books for 30% damage. If the target was killed, revive a random dead ally with 50% HP, 50% turn meter. If the target was killed and there are no allies, reset the cooldown of the skill instead. So, you know how powerful like Odin is, basically like one-shotting somebody and then bringing back a champion. Like the swing is quite big because then the enemy goes down 1 and then you're up 1. It's a big swing. It's a game-changing ability here. It's on a 4-turn cooldown. Basically, you gotta make sure that he kills somebody with this hit. His A3 here is an AoE, destroy the max HP of all enemies by 10%. Places a shield on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is equal to the total amount of enemies destroyed max HP. Now, if you're hitting 4 enemies for 40% max HP, the shield can be decent size, can be pretty massive actually. If you're hitting a bunch of supports, let's say you're hitting 4 supports at 100k HP each, that's 10k HP per, that's 40k shield. That's pretty huge, right? Pretty huge. Let's check out his bonuses here. So 1 faction ally, the shield placed by the skill cannot be removed, so a protected shield, very nice. 2 allies instantly activates the skill when this champion is revived. That's also very strong. And then you have a 3 ally bonus here. Will ignore a portion of each target's defense. The amount of defense ignored is equal to the percentage of each target's destroyed max HP. So I'm not 100% sure whether the first hit will get you any bonuses if they have no max HP or if it gives you 10%. I'm not too sure, but this could be crazy if it scales up properly, but a good skill overall anyways. His passive here, whenever this champion is revived, increase the damage inflicted by this champion by 20%. So if he's revived 10 times, he gets 200% damage. It's kind of interesting. With one ally bonus, this champion's immune to block revives. That's very nice, actually. Two allies receive 20% less damage if this champion is dead. Whenever it is, and then three allies, whenever this champion is dead and an ally attacks an enemy, this champion will join that attack with their default skill, which is a heal and a true fear. Now, the thing about him is that he's kind of like almost like a selfish champion. He has a lot of damage, damage dealing skills. His A2 hits really hard. He has a shield here on this champion, so it's not particularly team oriented. He does have a team heal on his A1, but that requires him to be dead. All of his unity stuff is based around himself to make him stronger, except for the second part of his second passive here. But generally, as a faction unity champion, all the the faction bonuses are kind of going to himself. Defense is not balanced by 30% with the crit rate boost to undead hordes. But he hits pretty hard. He was kind of bugged on release. I think I remember that. And yeah, he's been fixed since. But this faction is so stacked, you can definitely, jam some kind of team together for him just to have some fun. Let's move on to the Void champion for this pool. We got Necrit the Great. Necrit here, big shields, big ally protection, big strengthen from his passive. He auto places block debuff, strengthen, ally protection on your lowest max HP champion at the start of the turn. It's very, very nice at keeping your kind of squishy damage dealers alive, especially if they don't have stone skin, so that they can deal maximum damage. He has the basically same ability on a 3-turn cooldown, and then he brings an ally attack for that champion with the ally protection. His A1 places decreased attack as well. And his secondary passive places a shield on the ally that's under ally protection when they're attacked. It's very, very nice for continued protection. So you got starting protection, continued protection, additional protection, and then you have some damage here and then some decreased attack. Good base stats overall. This guy's a pretty hard carry for a lot of areas, still very relevant in even PvP, just because he can bring such massive shields against bombs. But yeah, those two are going to be up for grabs for Saturday. Let's move on to Sunday. Sunday, the last day in the whole thing, we got Dwarves faction up. So we got Admiral Black Tusk. Admiral Black Tusk. This is the guy here. Again, I haven't play tested this guy in particular. Good base stats here, but he seems like a decent champion here. We got an A1. Attack one enemy has a chance to stun. This debuff cannot be resisted when this champion is attacking out of its turn. So when he counterattacks, for example. So his A2 here, we got a 3-turn. You got 3 books here. 3-turn full cleanse, and then a ally attack on one enemy. This is actually probably one of the best ally attack skills in the whole game. So you got a full cleanse and an ally attack on a 3-turn cooldown. Usually the ally attacks are 4-turn cooldowns. But yeah, this is probably one of the best ally attacks in the whole game. And then you have his A3 here. You have removes all buffs from a target enemy and place a stun debuff on them for 2 turns. It's a place, it's not a hit, so no chance to weak hit. Fills this champion's turn meter by 50%. Fills this champion's turn meter by additional 10 for each buff removed. So a pretty big fill here on a 3-turn cooldown. He's getting one faction ally bonus. The buff removal and stun cannot be resisted. That's really strong. That's really strong, especially for one faction ally. For 2 ally bonuses, resets the cooldown of the skill when an enemy is killed while under stun placed by this champion. So a little bit of a restriction here. You gotta be placed by this champion, but getting more of this skill can be very, very strong. 3 allies. Allies deal double damage to targets under stun debuffs placed by this champion. Again, a little bit of a condition here, which is not the best. Since he can only place stuns on his single target here, his A1 has a stun, but no AoE stuns from this guy. But yeah, a bit of support here. You get some more damage. You get more stuns. And yeah, the buff removal and irresistible stun can be very, very strong. His passive here. Allies will counterattack when they lose 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit. That's pretty easy to happen, right? Like we have masteries that have this happen based on much higher percentage of HP lost, and they happen all the time. So 10% means it's just going to happen all the time. 1 ally bonus. Whenever an ally places hard CC, fills this champion's turn meter by 20%. Can only occur once. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So he can, place it himself, get some turn meter. 2 ally bonuses. Whenever an ally is attacked, has a 50% chance of placing decreased resistance. So decreased resistance, basically giving yourself an accuracy boost, making it easy for you to land debuffs, and a 30% decreased speed on the attacker. If the ally is under block damage, unkillable ally protection stone skin, the chance increases to 100%. Okay, that's I mean, you're guaranteed to land decreased resistance and decrease speed. That can be very, very good. And then with 3 faction allies on the team, at the start of each round, place stone skin on your whole team for 1 turn. Now this is very strong because this basically takes stone skin gear away from your team if you have a team full of dwarves. Overall, these are great team boosting, team synergy bonuses. So if you give your whole team stone skin, you can make them slow, they get attacked, everybody on the enemy gets decreased resistance, decreased speed. And then when you take a turn, you're getting a bunch of turn meter fill here. You can basically like perma stun them, get more turn meter here as well. You can ally attack them with this. You can stun them again. They can take more damage from being stunned. It's interesting. It's interesting. I think this is probably the most interesting part of it, where he gets the full team stone skin. It gives your team a bit of flexibility with the team build, but it requires 3 dwarves on the same team. Might not be ideal for some situations, but a cool champion overall. Could be very good for like siege teams and all that. Lastly here, probably one of the best void progressives we have in this whole event. It's going to be Arnorn. So I did a showcase on this guy on the test server, and he is super fun to play with. He's super fun, and I think he's actually kind of even like high level PvP viable. He's a great void affinity attack based damage dealer, has good base attack here, decent base speed. Let's check out this kit here real quick. Is A1, single target hit, double hit, damage D increases by each buff on the target. So let's assume they have like 3 buffs. He's gonna get like 15% increased damage. Each hit has a 35% chance to stun. It's a little bit of a stun. It's pretty annoying, similar to Wukong. Wukong has a stun on the A1. Arnorn's A2, single target hit with double hitter. The damage inflicted by the skill increases by 10% for each 10% HP this champion has lost. Similar to one of those kits, I think it's like Fury kit, I believe. You get a bit of a damage boost based on the amount of HP that Arnorn has. If the target has 2 or more buffs, we'll ignore 35% of the target's defense. 2 or more buffs is generally pretty easy to get nowadays. So you're almost guaranteed to have 35% ignore defense, along with this damage boost as well. And it's on a 3-turn cooldown, and you get an extra turn if you kill somebody. So pretty powerful A2 here, I gotta say. And his A3 here attacks all enemies, will ignore increased defense, strengthen, and shields. Unfortunately, no ignore defense here. No ignore stone skin. It's on a 4-turn cooldown. If this attack kills at least 1 enemy, decreases turn meters of all enemies by 50%. Cannot be resisted. Now this is pretty huge too. So if you lose a member on your team, he's going to push back your whole team per turn meter, and it cannot be resisted. It's actually a really crazy ability. The only thing keeping it from being absolutely busted is, again, he does not ignore defense or ignore stone skin on this. So, he's not going to hit as hard as, for example, probably this ability or other champions' abilities, but this is still a pretty dang strong ability. And now his passive, the cool stuff about him is his passive effect. Each increases the champion's attack by 5% for each active buff on the enemy team, up to 100%. So 20 buffs is going to give you the maximum. Now 20 buffs on 4 champions in arena is 5 buffs. That's not particularly easy to get right away, but you're going to get it. And this is going to be pretty powerful. And his 4-turn active effect prevents the champion's death, keeps them alive at 1 HP. After a fatal hit, places stone skin on them for 1 turn, then instantly activates his AoE ability. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. This will not place the skill on cooldown. So if he dies, he gets stone skin on him, and then he's going to hit you with an AoE that might kill somebody. And if it kills somebody, it's going to push back your turn meter, and you're probably going to lose a turn, and you're probably dead. So yeah, he's pretty strong. When he lands stone skin on himself, he can still die, so you can still break the stone skin and all that. But you still got to hit him pretty hard just to break his stone skin. Whether it's better than like unkillable or block damage like that on death, I'm not too sure. But yeah, it does keep him alive, and he's going to have very low HP, which means that his A1 is going to smack, his A2 is going to smack super hard because he gets extra damage boost based on the amount of HP he has lost. So this guy, yeah, he smacks, and he's super fun to play with. I've seen a lot of guys like use him in live arena, and it's kind of, you know, if you're not used to seeing this guy, he can be definitely surprising, because he's going to surprise you with this AoE, right? If you try to kill him, if you're not thinking about trying to deal with him properly, similar to how, you know, some really strong mythicals now, you got to really worry about what happens or how to deal with them properly, not just straight up just kill them and forget about them. So he's one of those champions. Yeah, great. I think if I was pulling voids, I would definitely try to go for this guy on Sunday. But I'm probably not going to be pulling voids, especially when the 2x sacred is going to be active. So probably just be pulling sacreds and then finishing off the hero's path, finishing off the fusion and all of that. All right, guys, sorry, a little bit long of a video, but we went through everything in pretty strong detail here. This is basically events for the next 4 days. All right, guys, to recap, we got 4 days worth of 2x sacred shard boost. That's 12% chance to pull legendary from a sacred shard during the hero's path, which is awesome. It's going to give you extra incentive to pull your sacred shards. And then we have 4 different progressive events for faction unity champions happening as well. You know, pick the one that you like the most or need the most, and then, you know, pull your sacreds for that champion, I guess. And then best of luck. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate your time as always. Let me know in the comments below which event interests you the most, which champion interests you the most. Do you guys have any specific team comps that you guys use some of these champions in? I would be interested in hearing that from you guys. But anyways, thanks for your time as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.